A few months ago, I completed this stunning, dark and moody whiskey lounge in what used to be the dining room of our house. When I had completed that project, I had left a couple of things not quite finished. I had wanted to paint the rest of the room, replace these chair railings, and then I also wanted to build out a frame around the window, just to give it a more completed look. I also never got to painting the feet on the lower cabinets, and I need to install a kick plate there because my dogs are constantly losing their balls and their bones underneath of these cabinets and then growling at them in hopes that I will save the day. So today's gonna be a short and sweet video just touching up all of those things I didn't get to. Gray is really not a color that I gravitate towards anymore, and I'm so excited to finally paint this section of the room. I removed the existing chair rail because I bought new ones months ago specifically for this room to tie in that same detailing that I have on the bar area. I don't know what was happening with my camera, but there are a few focus issues in a few sections of this video. I think I have fixed that going forward. At first, I did not paint the baseboards, but later I went back and I painted them to add to that overall moody feel. The bright white against that deep green was just throwing me off. Color drenching has been trending when painting these moody or even more colorful rooms. That just means painting your baseboards, your trim, and even your ceilings in the same color as your walls. While I'm not completely color drenching this room, it certainly looks more elevated and intentional with the baseboards the same color. Since I had to take all of the faceplates off of the outlets and I'm painting this whole wall, I figured I might as well swap out all of my outlets, give them a little update. One, to be that more square, modern look, but also because all of the outlets in my house, or at least 90% of them, are really old and they don't even hold a plug in them anymore. As soon as you plug something in, it like droops, falls right out, doesn't even stay connected. So we bought a multi-pack of all of the outlets, outlet covers, so that we can replace all of the outlets in our house. And our house isn't even that old. It's about 10 years old. I don't even think it's that old. But anyways, it's not old. This should not be an issue at all. Clearly, they bought the cheapest outlets they could find when building this house. This is such a simple process. Just make sure your breaker is off. Make sure you have one of these little electric guys. I have no idea what this is called. Don't ask me, but it's green. If it were red, that would mean our electric is on. I'm just going to unscrew him from the wall. Pull it out a little bit. You want to touch it at the top and the bottom, these little metal parts. Don't touch the inside wires. Grab these guys. I know we turned the breaker off, still grab those tops. Give them a little yank to pull out of the wall. And then we are just going to match the wires up exactly as they are on this old one and just flip them over to the new one. Super easy. There is a small section on the opposite side of this room as well that I need to paint, and I know it is so incredibly difficult to see with the light from these windows, but I removed the trim and curtains from this side before painting and changing out another outlet. Earlier in the day, I had painted all of the chair railings as well as the window trim. So next I cut it down to install, and please ignore the state of my garage. It was also the evening when I got to this part, so it was pretty dark in here. But Josh and I actually just did some spring cleaning and got it all organized and rearranged. So finally we have a nice clean workshop that we can actually move around in. I held on to the original chair rail sections and I used those to measure and cut down the new ones. So I measured the new chair rail using the original pieces, and I was a little bit short on this one on the left. I somehow had cut that one down ever so slightly too short. But then I remembered that we're going to be adding in this trim around the window. So I need to cut it down a little bit shorter to account for this trim. I love a happy accident. It is so much easier for you guys to see what I'm doing in front of this window now that the sun has gone down, but I'm gonna start casing out the window, and I cut down my fluted trim to size, and then on top of it, I'm going to be putting these little rosettes. So this thin section is going to go all the way around the side, the top, and then the far side. And then in the middle here, we have two windows, and there's like this small little section right between the two. And I have a wider fluted trim for that section. However, it is not quite filling out the entire space. So I painted this green all the way up, so it's gonna blend in a little bit nicer. But then on the corners, on the two far outside corners is where these little rosettes are gonna go. So they're gonna sit right on top of here. I'm gonna have another, it's gonna sit right on top of here. I'm gonna have another thin piece of the fluted trim going this way, another rosette, and then down the side. Simply adding this trim around the windows already has this room feeling more complete and gives such an elevated look. I didn't get that center window trim added on the night before. I can't really remember why I did that, but here's that awful lighting again to finish that last piece. I've been trying to figure out how to install the kick plate because I don't exactly have somewhere to just nail it into. So I cut down these 2x4s. I have a ton of scrap 2x4s in my garage. I cut them down to 19 inches so that it's going to sit right behind the feet and then give a little bit of space to install that kick plate. And then I'm just gonna set them in there, not really attach them to anything. Like I said before, the purpose of this is simply just to stop my dog's toys and bones from rolling underneath of here and me constantly having to get on the ground to get them out. So this doesn't need to be a super intense and permanent solution. I had one last piece of the chair railing to add in, which was the most difficult piece to cut because it butts up against that stair banister. I'd tried cutting it the night before using the original piece as a template, but I had actually cut it on the wrong end. This chair rail is made out of foam and not wood, so it's super lightweight and really easy to cut. I used a utility knife to score it and then a flexible flush cut saw to get a precise cut, but any handheld saw would work for this. Now the walls are complete and it's time to put everything back in place. Starting with the curtains, I hung them back up and then I steamed them to get all of the wrinkles out. It is amazing what a steamer or an iron can do to make your curtains look so chic and elegant. Also, hanging them above your windows gives a more grand feel. Eventually, I would love to reupholster these chairs to look more like leather and fit that speakeasy vibe even more, but for now, the rich brown suede material works in this room. This was such a quick and easy little weekend project to finally complete this whiskey lounge room, and I am so happy that I took the time to get it done. The deep, moody green feels so warm and cozy and inviting over that modern and, in my opinion, outdated gray that was everywhere in the early 2010s. And can we talk about the window trim? It is perfection.